Hello. I am here to share with you my very sexy experience with a 72-hour water fast. My name is Cristina Flores, and I started this podcast because I wanted an opportunity to flesh out my beliefs, challenge my beliefs, to hear about experiences of other people, to push people to be a little bit more vulnerable, to push myself to be more vulnerable, to close that gap between who I feel I am behind closed doors and who I feel I am in front of the camera, and to get used to this dialogue that feels sometimes quite foreign to me, and other times it feels more comfortable than being with people in person. So it's been an interesting journey. This is not meant to educate you specifically. I am simply going to speak about my experience and what I felt was successful about it. Why talk about a 72-hour water fast? Why would I do that? Well, one thing to know about me just in general is that I love doing challenges. I love doing short challenges. I've run 7 half marathons. I, like to do 100 days of push-ups. 100 push-ups a day, rather, is what I was trying to say. I like to do 30 days of being vegan, 30 days of no fry foods, 100 days of no alcohol, no weed, no caffeine. And not necessarily just to count the days off, to have something to say. It's more so an opportunity for me to give myself proof and confidence that I can finish things, because before starting this podcast, I felt like I was in this space of not finishing things. I was starting a lot. I've always felt like I was good at a lot of things, but I wasn't finishing things. So it gave me that proof that I could finish many things. And then I got to decide at the end of that 30, 60, 90 days, 100 days, does this work for my lifestyle? And how do I want it to fit with, my life moving forward? So, and just to break the 21-day forming a habit myth, that is not true. There's more recent studies that show that it takes anywhere from 60 to 90 days to actually build a habit. So anyway, I say all that to say that I love challenging myself. I love pushing my body to see what capacity that it has. And I have been working up to doing a 3-day fast for a few years, actually. I'm sure you've heard of intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting became popular a decade ago, and I just looked up that it was because of some BBC writer of some sort, or maybe I don't know, somebody from BBC. They wrote a book, they had a documentary, they talked all about this intermittent fasting thing. And so it became very popular about a decade ago. Now, I feel like it is almost a fad of sorts for people to not eat breakfast or not eat for portions of the day. For me, in testing it out for myself, I found that having a boundary and an eating window has been really helpful for me in simply cutting out night eating in general, which is something that I've always had around me with my parents. And so it's something that I've had to work really hard to break as an adult, and that I still struggle with, if I'm being fully transparent, which I always am, aiming to be. And it allowed me to have more time to put thought into what is the first thing that I want to put into my body, and what else can I focus on other than what is my next meal if I'm not eating right now and I know it. And it gave me less decision fatigue in the morning. I'm like, I know I'm not eating until this time. So that's been helpful. I also used to fast every Sunday for a few months, and I liked that. It allowed me to reset, and it did aid in weight loss and sometimes repairing the damage of overeating, over drinking over the week or the weekend. And this fast was the very first time that I felt like I did it for something deeper than weight loss. I wanted to do it because my eating habits have just felt so off of the wayside. I have had the habit of eating to fill a void, and I haven't been practicing that for the last couple of years. But, over the last few months, I was dealing with things in my personal life, and I found myself eating to fill a void again. And I have been really gentle with myself about that. I've learned that you go through ups and downs, and our bodies fluctuate and our appetites fluctuate. So I allowed myself a couple of months of just kind of being a little bit more lax, but I'm ready to dive back in and get back in it. And my health is a priority to me. So I thought, what better way to tune into my body than to completely silence the elemental things that I constantly have at an abundance. And I had had a conversation with a beautiful woman in January. Her name is Teresa. And she told me, she's from Mexico. And every single year there's a 3-day meditation of some sort, a silent meditation, I believe, that she did at the top of a mountain, and everybody picks someone to nourish them because they're also fasting during this process. And that is what I latched onto from the story. I don't know the details of this meditation, but that was what I latched onto, is that she picked a nourisher. And let me tell you what I mean by that. She asked her brother every single year while she does this to eat with her in mind. I didn't get any more details than that, but I took that idea and I ran with it, and I decided that I wanted to have my mom be my nourisher throughout this 3-day process. And at first she was like, wait, what do you mean? But in 2 seconds was like, absolutely, I'll do it. When I explained to her the idea, and I did this also alongside a client. I wasn't expecting them to do it with me, but I was already diving into eating habits, relationship with body, and confidence. I think overall confidence in general was a topic that we were exploring in this 8-week container. And I just posed the idea to my client and said, like, would you like to do this with me? And she was down, excited, and she'd never completed a 1-day fast. So I was a little bit worried, but we did research and I shared ideas with her, and we decided that we would do it together. And it turned out to be one of the most special, precious memories that I have with my mom. First of all. Second of all, it was a huge confidence booster in just being able to hone in on my no. I've done this before. Somewhere in between 48 to 72 hours is how long I made it. But I started to eat in between there, and it wasn't as well thought out. It was completely focused on weight loss, and I did it with a couple other friends, and we just held each other accountable via text. But this felt rooted in something deeper, and we decided to make a theme for each day. And the first day was getting clear on what our definition of desire is and how desire plays a role in our life. The second day was getting still and gaining clarity, tapping into intuition. And the third day was coming home and reflecting and preparing for the integration of the fast into our lives. So resources that I want to provide here. What I learned is that aromatherapy is really powerful during the fasting process. I used a lot of essential oils, and I also did acupressure and tapping and a lot of music and sounds just to really tap into the other senses of the body. Sparkling water. I did do black coffee. I even had a broth at one point that a quote unquote broth. I did hot water with like garlic powder, onion powder. You'll find a lot of different information on the internet as to what you can have, what you can't have, how much of something you can have, 2 pieces of gum, etc. I didn't have any gum on this fast. I did drink a lot of water. Some people do dry fast. This was just my version. And I also did not do very much working out. I did walk a lot, but I did not choose to work out or weightlift or really dance. I was off of teaching dance for that period of time, which is super helpful because I do need a lot of patience and heart and with the kids that I teach, and this was not a moment for that. So I was really able to tune into me. And somebody that I used as a resource throughout the whole process was Dr. Mindy Pelz. You should definitely look her up and see what she has to offer. Her page has so much information about fasting, bone broth fasting, different lengths of fasting, what you should do to break a fast, what you should do leading up to a fast. And what I found that worked for me most was taking in information. Like I was doing a lot of motivational speaking. I was listening to a lot of motivational speaking. My mom also sent me scriptures every single day. And I'm not a Bible girl. I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so I'm personally a little turned off by religion, but I was able to really appreciate the scriptures that she shared with me, and having the ability to get rid of the thing that I mostly think about every single day allowed me to focus in on how exactly it is that I want food to show up for me in my life. I have not been as excited about whole foods in probably since last year, to be honest, and we're in April, so in about 4 months. I went to the store and I bought vegetables and a whole chicken, and I really focused on 3 things based on Mindy Pelz video, which was focusing on good oils, so nothing that has like canola oil, seed oil, really focusing on olive oil, MCT oil, coconut oil, those kind of things. Focusing on nature's carbs, not using any sort of additive sugars or anything that you can find that has a label is probably not a nature's carb. So potatoes, fruits, those kind of things. And the third thing is slipping from my mind at the moment. Oh, just nothing synthetic. So no Coca-Colas, no things that have dyes or that kind of thing to it. And I was really excited, and I had better conversations at the grocery store than I've ever had in my life, because people could see how I was looking at food and how excited I was. So I had multiple conversations with people about recipes and the way that they cook things and how their kids like things. And I had a genuinely amazing time at the grocery store. I have fallen off from caring about cooking. And I realized through this process that, you know, food is very intimate. Like what we put in between our lips and inside our bodies is an extremely intimate process. And I want food to be something that I take pride in. And I don't have to be a master chef, but I think it's really important to make food a ceremony and a celebration, and take the time to look at it and think about where it came from and what hands it was passed through, and, you know, what hearts were beating before it laid on your table, on your plate. And being able to strengthen our relationship with the way that we take in the food that we get and that we buy, I think is the first step to changing anything that you want to change externally. For me, everything starts internal. Thoughts, then to words, then to actions. And eating is a really big part of our lives, our everyday lives, our social lives. I feel like I have fallen prey to having some deep-seated FOMO when it comes to social situations and saying no. And I think I am a glutton. I am a glutton more times than I would like to admit. And so exploring the idea of gluttony also was extremely powerful for me, because it is considered a sin in the Bible. But stripping away what the Bible says and focusing on like what I want my Bible to be, I know that eating in excess, drinking in excess never makes my body feel energized, prepared. It never feels that it's functioning at its best. And I know that I care to age gracefully, and I want to have the energy to do a lot of different things. I still have so many dreams and goals that I want to accomplish. And so getting a hold on this is extremely crucial to me, to having the life that I want, the person that I envision myself being. So all in all, I didn't want to make this video extremely long, but I did talk to many people about this process, and I wanted to share a little bit about what my journey was. I know scientifically there's probably a whole lot more to be discussed. What I'll say on my end is what I learned is that by 72 hours, you're reaching peak autophagy, and that is cellular regeneration, getting rid of unnecessary or dysfunctional components of your cell. And you do not hit that peak percentage of autophagy until you hit 72 hours. So that was something I was really interested in experiencing. You give your immune system a chance to reset. Your digestive system gets to go to sleep. Now, something that I did experience on the third day was racing of my heart. And from what I understand about this, and I'm going to provide links and all of the things that I learned in the show notes, because again, this is not to educate you, but to share my experience and what I gleaned. Your body is having an adrenaline response. You're not eating. So your body's like, okay, what do we do? And there's a few different hormones that are at play and systems that are at play to kind of figure out the problem and solve the puzzle because you're not eating. So that is why my heart was racing out. I was also drinking a lot of coffee. I think in hindsight, probably could have drank less coffee. I did experience the euphoria feeling that some people talk about, where I kind of almost felt like high. And I would have moments of just like extreme joy. And I had a lot of bursts of energy where I had to go out and walk. But I did also experience hunger pangs. And this process of doing this with a nourisher, and my mom was just the best nourisher of all time. She was constantly there checking up on me and making sure I was okay and making sure I was motivated and, cheering me on, and also doing it alongside a client, having somebody counting on me to finish with them and celebrating, at each hour passed was so powerful. And this is the power of accountability and the power of stating your goals out loud and tying your goals to other people, because I don't think I would have cared to finish without somebody else there. And finishing allowed me to realize if I can say no to food for 24 hours, for 48 hours, for 72 hours, I can say no after 8 p.m. I can say no to that extra drink that I don't need. I can say no to that sugary thing that's not going to make me feel good later. All of these things are just building of confidence, building of proof that you can do things that are challenging, hard. So I would do it again. I plan to do it once a quarter, which is every 3 months. So I'll probably do one again in June. I think also doing this alongside 5 a.m. Club with a group of people that I was working with was also extremely valuable, because when you go to bed early, you just have a lot less temptation. You stay out of trouble. So I would highly recommend having a early to bed, early to rise kind of schedule with doing a fast. Having somebody attach to you in the habit process, in the habit forming process of just saying no continually, moment after moment, hour after hour, day after day. I stopped eating Wednesday night at 7 p.m. So I started eating on a Saturday at 7 p.m. I knew I had a performance that Saturday night, so I had everything ready. I went to the grocery store the night before Saturday so that I had groceries ready waiting for me, so that I would be excited, so that I wouldn't break my fast with something really terrible for my body like donuts. So all of those things I think lent to my success. I am excited to continue to hone in on this practice, but I think the main takeaway that I want to give is that having something be deeper than weight loss is so important. You have to have a deeper why, and also a who, a why and a who. Why are you doing this, and who could it help you? And also, tying to somebody else, and who could you inspire? People are inspired by discipline, and a new kind of switch that I've been making in my head is devotion over discipline. And that's really been powerful for me, because devotion feels more heart-centered. And when it's coming from my heart, I have a much grander capacity to go far, because I'll give my heart all day. But when it comes to discipline, I find myself falling off a little bit quicker. when it doesn't feel tied to something that I love and that I care about, which is people, me, my grander purpose, and the greater good of who is to come after me. So I think that this is a good place to end. I have to go to work. This may have been me rambling, and I just knew that I couldn't wait another day to talk about this. I intended on making this so much sooner. One other thing to mention, I did get really sick after the 72-hour fast, but I don't think it's tied. Having the runs is normal. So going to the bathroom once you start eating, no matter how you end it. I started with protein and vegetables. I started with broth, and then I did protein and vegetables like an hour later, and then an hour later after that. But I got really, really sick. And I think it was just a testament to my body continuing to clear things out, and also being around a couple people who were sick. I got laid out on my bed. So I will have to do it again and see what happens and report back, because I don't know if it was tied. But it was much needed rest. Much needed. For a girl who never stops. Okay, well, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for stopping by. I hope this helps you feel like you can conquer your sexy. Have you done a fast? Do you have any tips? Do you have anything that you've learned that I haven't mentioned? Have you ever made it something spiritual for you? I know a lot of different religions practice fasting in different ways. So I would love to hear your thoughts or anything that you glean from this conversation that I just had with myself. Okay,